Cheers, everybody. I am 2 minutes early, but welcome all to the Katie's Arms on Friday nights when I'm around at 8 o'clock live. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Bless your souls. My first update is that I'm on my creaky chair, and my second update is that I just blow dried my hair, and now it's like some crazy thing out of the 70s. I feel like an ostrich who just got its bum fluffed. Do ostriches get their bum fluffed? I don't know. But anyway, here we are. And it is officially Pride Month. And as you can imagine, I am absolutely thrilled that Pride Month is going to be shoved down the neck, as it were, of my young son at school for the whole month. Because it's not enough, obviously, just for them to learn about being accepting and learn about, you know, that we're all nice to each other and we all respect each other. That's great. They have to have a whole month of Pride because their LGBTQ teacher, as I call her at school, says that it's because of arseholes like the person who wrote somebody is gay on the school projector. I so love the boys in at the school that I won't mention. But anyway, in the LGBTQ class, which I think they call PSHE, piss myself, whatever, PSHE, but LGBTQ class, one of the kids did a thing saying, so-and-so is gay. And it pissed Miss off so much. And so, not in any way am I encouraging the kids to piss off Miss from LGBTQ class, but I'm totally encouraging them to do that. And so they have to have wear your own clothes day for Pride Month. And if you're an ally, like, I believe we're all allies. I just don't feel the need to go, I'm an LGBTQ ally, or I'm an LGBT ally. I don't know if I believe in the rest of the bollocks, but never mind, I'm an ally anyway, like I do anything for anyone, whatever. I don't think you need to identify as a bloody ally, because then what's it saying? It's like, Black Lives Matter, well, yes, of course they do, because if that wasn't true, the opposite of that is Black Lives don't matter, and obviously that's bullshit. So this is the thing right now, are you an ally? Are you an LGBTQ ally? Because the opposite of that is, oh, you're not. Oh, you're an enemy. And that's not the thing. The opposite of ally is not that we're not an ally. It's just we don't feel the need to say it. So anyway, LGBTQ allies at my son's school for young, very young people are being encouraged to wear pride outfits. Obviously, my son isn't doing that because he can wear what the hell... Oh, God, I've got a hair in my eye. Sorry. He can wear what the bloody hell he wants to school for own clothes day. You know, whatever clothes he fancies. It's not that he would be anti someone. He'd just be wearing the clothes that he chose to and not dressing up as a F-bomb rainbow if he didn't choose to. Because what 14, 12-year-old, 10 was going to wear a rainbow to school anyway? Anyway, it's just all of that. And I can imagine the parents who love that their kids are going as an ally and then they're going to take a photo for their Instagram of their kid dressed as a rainbow because their LGBTQ teacher has forced this shit down their necks and they aren't allowed to think anything different than what Miss says is the correct opinion. And we have a real laugh about it at home because we all see what Miss is up to. They're having a Pride March through the school. Woo! Woo-hoo, Miss! Go you! Woo! Hope you got a sign saying my vagina is made of steel. Woo! So Miss is leading... Woo! I probably... Oh, get thrown out of another school, won't we, for this? Miss is leading the Pride March through the school, through all the young kids, because Miss is just like... She's like, you know, the foundation of all things pride. For a game of marbles. I have to say, I'm going to fess up. I have a T-shirt for my son to wear. And he's going to wear it. And it's not anti... But, like, because if you're LGBTQ teacher or PSHE, you know, please shit myself and everyone has to be an ally, then... you're also going to... I know exactly what you're going to think about everything else, right? I know what you're going to think about this. I know what you're going to think about Black Lives Matter. I know what you're going to think about... I think you're probably an aspiring vegan, right? If you think that stuff and you teach LGBTQ, you're also going to think a whole bunch of other things. So I have a particular t-shirt that will really piss Miss off. And I'm encouraging my son to wear it. And the thing is, it just expresses love for a certain nation. And I probably shouldn't be this mother, and I like to think that I'm not, but I know that I actually slightly am. So I'm just sharing it here because obviously I don't get involved. None of my, as many of you know, none of my children have my last name, and I've never involved myself with any of my children's schools in any way, in order that any of the things that went on in my world don't directly impact on them straight away. So I am one step removed, even though I giggle at home about quite a lot of the things that go on, and I cheer on the boys who kind of are helping take the piss. Now I have, so my lovely, well not my lovely, but my help book here that my husband, lovely Mark, did a nicer cover, and then I wrote a letter inside to good people like you. There's a lady that I want to write this to, who earlier on, I was asking what we all wanted to talk about this evening, and she was talking about how she just found out that her partner had been cheating on her and effectively therefore her family. And so she wanted to kind of talk about that. She's had obviously quite a shit week. I believe her partner has been, removed from the house. So I just wanted to tell you that I will write you a message in this book. If you leave me a comment under where you wrote before and your address, maybe email me, katie@katiehopkins.co.uk. I will write your book for you and send it to you, and at least you'll be able to laugh that my life has been more disastrous than yours by any measure. And I'm really liking writing these books and sending them out. This isn't a big sales thing, but I just love it because it's like chatting to you guys, and there's always something in there for everybody to make you feel better. So please do get in touch. I will say as my story that my husband left me when I worked for the company, and I had two children, my girls, two children under the age of 2 at the time. In fact, he left me the day after I guess he left me before I had our second child, but the day after I had my second child, he left forever. And I got home from the hospital on my own with 2 children then. So Poppy was 1 day old. And so that was when my husband left. So in terms of disasters and relationship disasters, I'm really up there. And I'm not criticising anybody for what they did or didn't do or blaming anything. I'm just saying that's a really strange thing when you get left and going home alone with the new baby when you're supposed to be like, oh, look, here's my happy family. Whereas in fact, I've just been left is a really weird thing. And then some other weird things, which is why I'm saying this for the lady who I think asked her partner to leave. I think that's much more courageous than what I did, which was try to pretend like it might still be okay. And actually, I rang my husband's new girlfriend with my 2 children at home and asked if I could have my husband back. So please don't imagine that your life or my life in any way has sort of been, I'm supposed to be the big hard-nosed bitch, but never imagine that you're the only one having these things and dramas and it's hideous. It really is. And we all have them in different ways. And you have to be very brave to just move on and say, I'm over that. I did something different where I thought I needed to ask for my husband back because the right thing to do with small children is to have a mum and dad. And therefore, I would make that happen by just arranging with the girlfriend to have my husband back, which sounds probably a bit mental now, but it made perfect sense at the time and I can still hear the sense of it. So after that day that I had my second child, I've never seen that person again. So my former husband, I've never seen him one day since, not ever, not for a single moment, nor have any of the family here. And that's also fine. And this isn't a gripe session. I'm just explaining that everybody has different ways of making things kind of work. And one of the real advantages of that, being completely alone, is that you decide to make yourself an island And it's almost like I can almost imagine the fence around my home that I paid for. And I decided that I would never need to rely on someone for my girls again before I had Max and the rest of the family and found a new person for all of us. I would always be able to look after all of them and made myself, tougher. And that doesn't mean it wasn't awful. And it doesn't mean that I didn't try and actually have a hitman to take out my husband. Because I honestly thought that would be a better way than trying to get divorced or having to one day tell my little babies that we were all left. But I always say it's me, I was left. And I've never gone into all of this. But there's all sorts of things you do when you're trying to make things right. And they don't sound very sane if you try and just say them. But actually, those are the decisions we make. So there we are. So that was my little share of what went on all those years ago. And that's actually why I ended up going on to the British Apprentice. Because I was living and working in the States. That's where our apartment was. I couldn't go back to it because the girlfriend had moved in and rather unceremoniously put my stuff in a shipping crate, including my baby's things that I'd got for when I was going back over with the baby. And so I had to start something completely new. And then I applied for the apprentice because I was like, I have got to make a step change in my life and I have got to do something for my girls and I need to do something for me and I need to prove I can do stuff. And that's why I applied. That's why I guess I ended up getting on the show. And that's why, blah, 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 all these years later, all the things that have happened. But that's a backstory that I don't tell. But it's the reality of all of that. And I think the thing that got me onto The Apprentice, weirdly enough, because you go through a series of selection processes and eventually you get into the room with the big guys. And I had on my suit and in my handbag, because I was working full-time in the UK and the US, my marriage had fallen apart. I had 2 children under the age of, one and a bit. In my handbag, because I didn't really have the time to go shopping for my baby's shoes, I had drawn around my baby's feet, right? Because I thought I would go into, Clark's. We used to go to Clark's, right? Clark's was like the institution for buying shoes. I know no one does shit anymore and no one goes to the high street and no one goes to Clark's. But you used to buy children's shoes always from Clark's. That's how the world worked. And I thought, rather than try and get 2 kids and a stroller and a double stroller and and I had no time, I drew around my second baby's feet and took the template into Clark's and said, I need a shoe that fits this foot. And obviously all the staff there looked at me like I was, I needed social help or they needed to call social services or I was a complete freak. And that's all fine. Part of that's probably true. But I happened to have those cut out templates of my baby's foot in my handbag. And I got them out at the interview because they were asking about something interesting about that or something that explains how your life is. And mine was busy. Everybody's life is busy. And so I got out this template of my baby's foot and said, look, I'm on my own with my girls. I haven't got time to try and keep everything together. And I need shoes. And so I drew around my baby's foot. And I saw, I didn't realise because I thought I was being normal. I saw them all look like, okay, this is gold. And that is the story of why I ended up on The British Apprentice. And it sort of all goes back to my husband leaving me in hospital with my second baby. Anyway, I say that to try and make you realise that there's always stuff and there's always a way through and actually things do work out better in the long run, but you have to sometimes go through a good bit of being stabbed in the heart. All sorts of things we want to talk about. What do I think of Biden? I believe he was installed. I broke into Washington, D.C. for the installation of Biden. I believe he was installed by world powers in order to achieve new world order that we're seeing happening. It was just described today on CNN as the liberal world order. And that's the reason they couldn't have a proper inauguration. They had to install Biden. And it was the reason I was one of, 20 people watching the installation. And what they turned that place into was a militarized zone so that no one would be there to witness the installation of a fraudulent president who doesn't know his own name. What do I think of the January 6th? So I was there for January the 6th. I was detained by Border Force, US actually, Border Force, Homeland Security. And so I arrived late on the 6th of January. If I hadn't been detained by Homeland Security, who obviously knew what was about to take place, I probably would have ended up in the capital, and I imagine by now I would be banned from America. So, but I was there to witness it, and for most of the millions who were there, it was a brilliant, brilliant day of Trump supporting patriots who just want the best for America and would never have seen happen what's happened there, here, Netherlands. You know, you look at the comments on the pictures of Terminal 2 that I posted. It's happening in the Netherlands, it's happening in New Zealand, it's happening in, you know, Australia. These are not, it's not by chance that we're all being made smaller, that all our worlds are being crunched in. It's not due to a lack of staff, believe me. This is target-driven stuff. Crucify the airline industry, etc. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. Thank you. I need to get back on the road again soon. I've got itchy feet. But currently, I'm earning major wife points because... Hold on, talk amongst yourselves. Lovely Mark is at a wedding in Ireland, and I am holding the fort here. Look at me. Look at me. Holding the fort as a good mother. No, I'm holding the fort here. And really, people would see that as like, oh, that's nice. She's at home being all wifey. No, I am merely accruing mother and wife points in order I can cash my chips in later and piss off and do really interesting stories from the road. So, I mean, I sort of love my family, you know, notionally. I wouldn't be without them. You know, if they were all lost, I would go and collect them, you know, sometime. I wouldn't be in a rush. It'd be like if I was going to Disneyland and, you know, you lost your children and they said, oh, could the mother of do please come to pick up the children? I would, but I'd take my time. I might have a little meal, you know. I might have a little glass of wine, then go to lost children and act like I'd been rushing. Oh, thanks. Anyway, so I'm holding the fort, yes. But that does mean I'll be on the road again soon. Hurrah. And on that point, my darlings, please do come. I should have come to Ireland, I know. Last time I was there, I was on that really, who's that turgid, boring man? Ryan Tubridy, the one with no personality whatsoever. I was on his show and they were so freaked out that I was going to say something I shouldn't say. They paired me with some boring feminist libtard from hell. Who had no point whatsoever, and I had a lovely time. Ryan looked like he was about to shit himself, and the newspapers went crazy. I'd happily go on that sofa again. I love the audience, the live audience there, but they just shit themselves whenever I come near that studio. What was I going to say? Something about, yes, Wales, 20th of August. I wrote it down, Selwyn Samuel Centre in Llanelli in Wales. I know, I can do a good horse impression for someone that looks like one. So if you are able to come to Wales, it doesn't really matter how far away you live, because, darlings, we need a reason to bloody laugh and feel better. I will be there on the 20th of August, and I know we've kept ticket prices as low as we were allowed to have them. I think it's 20 quid. Then I think Ticketmaster charges something, but either which way, Wales, 20th of August, try and be there for God's sake so that we can have a laugh. Right, Ukraine. So my view on Ukraine, and bear in mind I now live somewhere where we have Ukrainians living in people's houses around here, because obviously it's the right thing to do, because if you're a really good person, you totally, like, once you've got your, what did they say? I'm a 2 EV, oh my bloody God, hold on, gotta write a note, Ben fucking Fogel, Jesus Christ. We're a 2 EV family, yeah. So if you're like a 2 electric vehicle, yeah, we're a 2 EV family, and we've got our Ukrainians as well. It's like, oh, we've got an electric vehicle, we voted to remain, and now we've got the Ukrainians, yeah, like an additional asset. And they've got them living in their homes. And then they must tell you, oh yeah, we're going to take the Ukrainians to France next week. We thought it'd be lovely for them, you know, see a bit of France. And you're like, bloody hell, these Ukrainians have got to come over here and just been like, now we're going to France, now we're having a laugh, now we're going to this school, act a little bit like you've just been bombed. Oh, life's pretty fucking rosy if you ask me. Some of these Ukrainian refugees aren't looking too much like Ukrainian refugees to me, but far be it from me to say anything. And meanwhile, I know that these homeowners, I know that there must be moments when the Ukrainians are in the shower too long or something and really piss them off. But, you know, they just love to sort of brag about the fact they've got a Ukrainian, like as if they've got some sort of, I don't know, pet dog that's a kind of, I don't know, a pet dog that's like a rare breed or something. So my personal view is the Ukraine war is all a setup and a front, really, for pushing in all sorts of things we don't want, like food rationing, energy price rises so that you can't use your family car, to distract from the fact that our worlds are getting smaller and smaller and smaller whilst everyone's looking over here at Ukraine. The idea that they bombed a shopping mall with 1,000 people inside. I call bullshit on that story. I call bullshit on Zelensky. I call bullshit on Ben Stiller or whatever twat just turned up with Zelensky in the fabricated war set that they walk through before they go into studio. I call bullshit on most of the Ukraine stuff. And if you don't like that opinion, I mean, there's two choices. And A would be fuck off. And B would be, that's fine because I didn't ask you to. Many of the people I speak to who are so sweet to me say, you know, I don't always agree with you, but. And I always want to say, and I don't because it would sound rude, I want to say, oh, could you show me the video where I asked you to agree with me? Could you show me where I wrote down, please agree with everything I said? I never did, right? I never did. This is what I think. You might love Ukrainians. You might have 85 living in your basement. Great. I'm sure you're coining it in like crazy. Brilliant. Maybe you've got a little flag up. Maybe you only wear blue and yellow now. Terrible colour combination, if you ask me. This is not yellow. This is mustard. But I think the whole Ukraine thing is bullshit. I'm sure some people died. Russians died. I don't think we should be sending them any more money. I don't think we needed to send them 2.5 billion in humanitarian aid. I call bullshit on that. And I call bullshit on an extra billion on military support for Ukraine. And it just so happens to have coincided with G7, who want to be allies, and NATO, who want to agree more military spending. So I call bullshit on the whole thing. I have no sympathy, sorry. I hope nobody's hurt too badly, but I'm sure some people are. But I think everything that's being put out in the media is a load of old shit. That's how I feel. It amuses me a little bit that people are like, with their Ukraine flag and up with the pride flag. And then next, I don't know what's next, something trans awareness. And they just do, clap at the sky. Okay, clap at the sky. What, Ukraine flag. Okay, what next? What's the next thing? Monkeypox. Right, shit, don't buy bananas. No, not that. Fuck, that's racist. Say something else. Oh my God. Call it something else. It's not a gay disease. Just happens to coincide. Just question. Do you think it's a good idea, bearing in mind monkeypox, whilst not being a gay disease, has disproportionately affected particularly gay men, and in fact gay men at pride marches who have then found a number of sores, as I read on the BBC, in the underwear area? Do you think, question to the audience, it's a good idea to have pride festivals right now? I'm just throwing it. I'm all about it. Have a brilliant time. Get naked. Do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, when there's a disease going around that no one's really allowed to talk about too much, that brings you out in pustules in the groin area, maybe we could just postpone Pride a bit. Doesn't mean we're not proud. Doesn't mean we don't love everybody who's gay or, you know, anything TQ, PLMN, OPQ, RSTUV, whatever you are. We're so proud. I'm just feeling like maybe we should delay it till after the monkeypox and whatever that's now going to be called. I also heard today, yes, I love Bernie fucking Ecclestone as well. Excuse my language. Sorry, I don't swear. Saying he'd take a bullet for Putin. And everyone's like, outraged, bloody marvellous. Thank God. I mean, obviously, the bullet would have to be shot pretty low. wouldn't it? Someone would have to be aiming for Putin's kneecaps to hit Bernie Ecclestone. No, that's not very nice. Bernie, bless him. I love Putin too. I've been to Russia and frankly was bloody marvellous. Was lovely and clean. The streets were fabulous. The football was organised brilliantly. People were dancing in the street. People were drinking vodka at breakfast time. Buggy boogaloo. And admittedly, from a domestic policy perspective, locals weren't that excited. But from an international perspective, bloody Russians love Putin. They're like, yeah, strength on the world stage. So we're not hearing any of that side of it, which is a real shame. Anyway, balls to all that. What haven't we talked about, my loves? Putin is great, you see? My gay nephew says the same as you. Yay! This is why real allies just talk like this. Real allies just say shit because they know that our gay mates would be like, whatever, she's a crazy, silly cow, she's great, she's a nutter, I wouldn't want to go anywhere near her vagina. That's our level. We don't need to be told to have a Pride Month and we're going to be an ally. Hello, my darling. Hello. Putin is hot. I don't know about that. I wouldn't want to see it naked. Mind you, I wouldn't want to see Boris naked either. And you know that he's loving this whole blowy story. Like the idea that he got a blowy off Carrie in the Foreign Office. I know that boy, and I know that he'll be loving that story. That story will have made his whole life. I love you. Please come to Victoria Hall, Staffordshire. Oh, big news on that. Is that I do have some dates coming in for 2023. I believe one is, where is it that they do the darts, my darlings? What's it called? Oh, that's terrible that I can't remember. Something circus. Someone will help me, I think. Wherever they do the brilliant darts in London, something circus, not Piccadilly Circus, it's a venue. I'm going to be there and tickets are up, I think. I've got to find the detail. Look, this is terrible. So, and I'm coming to London to do stand-up on my own and also to Blackpool. So I'll make sure I put those dates together. I can't even hardly say it because I'm makes me feel shy. No, it's not the one in Manchester, but I know that there is the same something circus. How unprofessional am I not to know? Yes, but anyway... Circus Tavern, Debbie, thank you. So the Circus Tavern in London has agreed to have me, and we've got tickets. I will put the links up and we'll get it all sorted, but we're going to bring Kate Hopkins stand-up to London, and Blackpool are going to have me back as well, and then we're going to try and find more venues, obviously, but I'm super excited for that. Stand-up is now happening, which is an amazing thing, and thanks to all of you guys for that. Why was Boris in full riot gear when he came to Liverpool, but when he's in Ukraine? I know. Basically, they've got this, and I can envisage it. If I was setting it up as a production company, I would envisage a walkway which had a Ukrainian kind of thematic and backdrop, but was entirely kind of constructed. And I think that's and then they just stick, basically you can add props to that. So what I want then is I want a couple of really mean looking Ukrainian, like 8-foot bouncers, maybe in some flak jackets, maybe a few guys with, weapons. I want people to look ready to be around the politicians. So there's an air of military and the theatre of the thing. I mean, I could produce Ukraine and leader meets Zelensky really easily, as any of you could, I'm sure. I think, yes, people ask me what's the answer. And that is one of the challenges, isn't it? It's all very well me banging on about we won't have the right to drive in 5 years and they're stopping us flying and they're taking our freedom. What's the bloody answer? And that's the exciting bit, I think, for us, because no matter what stand-up is, which is just about me wanting people in a room, like in Wales, I want us to be together so you remember you're not on your own. That's why we're doing these. But by about October time this year is when I think it's going to kick off, actually. I don't think people are going to stand for it. I think when energy bills go up by another 50%, I think we will see mass strikes in the public sector because they can and be paid. Therefore, there will be a private sector response to that eventually. And I think people will take to the streets. And I do believe the only way we overthrow this is by sort of the French spirit of revolution, because the only way we're going to stop this whole process of 2030, New World Order, Liberal World Order, is by showing strength in numbers and by refusing to be governed. And I know you can't go onto the internet and incite social chaos, but I think only by refusing to be governed can we make a difference. And that might not be everyone, because we know we struggle with the compliant masses, the people who would have the vax because they wanted to go to Mallorca, and I'm not putting those individuals down. But if that's your level of withstanding things, the bar is low. But there is a good solid grouping, millions of us, whose bar is very much higher. And mine knows no limits. There is nothing that I fear. Certainly not prison, certainly not being detained, certainly not having my citizenship taken. None of those things frighten me. End of life doesn't frighten me. And so the only way we go back against this is by standing together. You can't get it through a political party, absolutely not. You'd only be able to change the whole system, and that's not coming in my lifetime. And so the only way is by refusing to be governed. And we showed that with the 100,000 NHS nurses, men and women, who refused the vaccine. And by standing together, that decision was overturned. We're going to need to repeat that at a national level, on the streets, repeatedly, and it's going to involve hardship for many who are leading from the front. And I'm all in. That will be the solution. But can't talk about that too much because it sounds like you're inciting people to go and break into Nike. Clearly that's not the sort of revolution I'm talking about. Anyway, my loves, it's 8:30. I don't know quite how that happens. Could talk for hours, darlings, could talk for hours. Life not fair. Well, exactly. And that's something I can feel for many of us, is that we can always know that whenever we go out, should it be tomorrow, can go out knowing that whilst I may be banned from South Africa and Australia and schools in Wales and the media in the UK and the mainstream media in the US and Australia and Ireland, and have had death threats, and there's a fatwa against me, and my children can't have my own name, and they took my house and my savings and some of my husband's. Whilst that happened, I don't feel daunted in any way, actually. I actually feel rather reinvigorated that we will somehow get through this. And if you're looking to find me, I'll be somewhere at the front or at the back if it's more sneaky. So, my loves, I will. Thank you so much. How am I still on Instagram? I know, darlings. Who knows? Who knows how I'm still here? Maybe I earn them a shit ton of money. I don't know. But should I not be? I'll be on the streets. Should I not be there? I'll be in a club. And should I not be there? I'll be somewhere in a supermarket near you, cheering people in R3 as I do. On that. No, actually, a funny thing. A shop, supermarket the other day, got to the till, and you know how the arseholes, like with big trolleyfuls, they like see someone with like hardly anything and then they act like they haven't seen them. So there was a lady behind me and she only had like, I don't know, whatever, a basket of stuff. And we'd started doing my stuff. And I said to the lady, don't do me. Do you want to go ahead? And the lady was like, oh my God, I'm trying to go to Glastonbury. That's so nice. And she got in before me. And she got to the end and I was like, yay, she's going to Glastonbury. Bloody good on her, balls to everything. And she got to the end and the lady said, have you got a bag? And she goes, no, I haven't got a bag. And she goes, I'll buy one. And I was like, no, I've got bags. I've got a shit ton here. Have some bags. So then the lady who's working the checkout said, oh, so you two know each other? And the lady said, no, I don't know her. And I was like, no, I don't know her. And she goes, yes, you do. You're friends. And I was like, well, no. And I think that's to me when people say, what can we do? Well, you heard my view on what's coming. But what you can do day to day is just be better than the standard that's being set by the people trying to crush us. And so if you go about in a jolly manner and just not be an asshole, that's what you can do every day. And it's so much better. And it shocks people when you just do an ordinary act of basic decency. It shocks people to say, you must be friends, because no one acts like this. We do. Our side does. And that's why our side is a great side to be on, because it just wants the best for each other. And that can't be defeated. Come on, my people, let us go and make this world much better within our lifetimes, because we sure as hell ain't passing this shit on to our kids. Right, my kids have been through enough having me as a mother. I'll tell you that for nothing. Okay, love you lots, and eat, drink, be merry. Get outside and walk if you can, just to make yourself feel better. And do remember, big breaths, because when you get squashed, you start to breathe like a shrew, and you have to try and remember you're going to make space for yourself and other people, and breathe really, really big, because by breathing big, we make the world a bigger place. I'll see you next week. Cheers.